Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and my goodness, welcome to another Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, and we are going to have a 1 vs 1 on Semois today. Yes, indeed, it will be Semois. Nice river map with that village right in the middle of everything. Always creates an interesting battleground. Also is usually the hotspot of the map. That alongside this open piece of territory right here. Very nice open ground, and also tends to be one of the major fighting scenes. Although that can depend a bit. This one generally isn't so much, partly because it isn't so open and it's not quite as accessible from either side for some reason. But this one though, hotspot, and this also generally a bit of a hotspot. Always good to know, always generally gives you a good indication of where to maneuver your troops, of course. In the hands of more clever opponents, that can be used, of course, against you, and they might actually try and stay away from those points and hit you everywhere else. Also, a bit of a note, regarding replays, I'm not getting so many this time around, at least at the moment, and I'm not getting any sort of varied replays. Either I'm getting a lot of Axis replays, and then it's pretty much all the same. I'm getting a lot of American replays fighting Panzer Elite players who just spam Panzer Grenadiers and lose them, and then that's it. It's more or less in that vein at the moment, and of course if people just keep in sending replays, that's great. If you don't see them, don't worry, it's not because it's bad or something like that, it's just because, well, I get so many, or at least I'd like to get so many, and then I choose the one that's actually interesting. And of course not every game is interesting. That's sort of the, or at least not interesting to show. It might have been great for you, but on the other hand, then when you show it to others, well, perhaps not so much. So I'm just sort of making a call out for all of those, and those who haven't past actually sending a lot but have apparently stopped sending them in. Where are you people? Send in, send in. I can always do with more replays. Yes, I'm going to probably end up getting flooded again, but I don't mind. So yes, send them in. I'd like to rather have a huge slew of cards to choose, replays to choose from, rather than a few ones, and then there might be some good ones, but then the rest are basically average, generic, with nothing really in particular to point out, which hasn't exactly been repeated time and time again these last 10 to 20, 50, 100 casts. So, you know, keep it up, mates, keep it up. Just send them in, don't worry if I show it or not. I haven't actually met anyone who actually demanded me to cast their games, thankfully, because then I'm definitely not going to do it. I do encounter a few who are like, please cast this, and well, I can't give any guarantees. I have people, you know, to show these, and I have some feeling I need to sort of apply into a sort of strategy again in casting. And you know, I want to show the interesting games. I want to show the ones where you can learn something from, and I also want to keep things less than repetitive. And again, that's sort of what you happen with some of the novice games. It rather follows the same patterns. Sometimes, like the one a few times ago, you can get some rather interesting things. On the other hand, you also get a lot of games where it's basically just a few people edging around and then nothing really ever happens, which isn't really exciting to show in a replay when you, for example, have to fast forward half of it. Then you generally have a bad match to show, that is. Nonetheless, let's go have a look at our opponents. In the south we have CompanyofPinheads, a most charming name, but nonetheless here he is. 3rd Armored Division once more thrown into the fray, holding this area while the Germans are maneuvering in. And who shall be facing them? It shall be Pattonslayer once more, ready to slay Patton, hopefully, perhaps with that shovel attached to the Schwimmwagen. Perhaps not, but nonetheless, here he is. Probably will be as the Panzer Lehr Ausklärungsabteilung, ready to show the 3rd Armored Division who's got the proper tanks. And in fact, let's get straight to it, shall we? And we are seeing a Schwimmwagen Type 128 right there, very nice. Engineers marching about, apparently not setting up a barracks with his engineers right away. Interesting, but he's still going with a 2 engineer start. Good luck, have fun, good job there, very nice and polite. And a U2, not the band, but sort of, yes, just you too as well, my good sir. I appreciate you wishing me good luck, sort of like that. And Schwimmwagen going straight for the munitions point there. Engineers going straight for this medium yield fuel point, which is of course one of the 2 on this map. The other one is of course straight up there. And of course you have some high yield munitions here and there. Very nice and dandy. Rather interesting map. barracks going up. We'll probably be seeing some nice rifleman chaps, or not. Not entirely sure what's going about here. There seems to be a sort of lack of effort here. No, we are seeing an observation post going up, instead neglecting the first rifleman team instead. Going straight for the fuel. That's an interesting maneuver. I mean, it can certainly be good to stop early harassment, but at the same time, it does really delay that most vital first infantry team, which can make a difference. There we go, infantry team. Lots of fuel right away, of course, also protecting this point, so we'll have to see how this works off. We believe we are seeing 2 Schwimmwagens out for the Panzer Lehr, and 2 Panzer Grenadier teams marching out. Gewehr 43s for the first one. Not an entirely unusual strategy. I certainly know one who generally likes going for 2 Kettenkrats or 2 Schwimmwagens. That will be my friend Kilrathi Soldier. I do play a few occasional 2 versus 2s with him. Pretty good Panzer Elite player, in fact. Certainly gives you a lot of early capping power and of course harassment power, so certainly nothing bad there. Though personally I prefer getting a lot of Panzer Grenadiers out and arming them rather nicely, and then some half-tracks to support them. But that is a matter of personal strategy and tactics, what sort of fate you sort of fit in with your moods, your ways of working. Some armies you can work great with, some not so well. I mean, it all comes down to your personality and a part, and of course what you know actually to work with. So keep such things in mind. Riflemen going straight here. So currently the Panzer Elite have in fact, by dint of their Schwimmwagens, actually secured a pretty large part of the map. Panzer Grenadiers also marching out. Not too much luck for the American 2nd Rifleman team on the way. Church being garrisoned by the Panzer Grenadiers, got mit uns, and Gewehr 43s also mit uns. So all nice and dandy there. Schwimmwagen might come under fire as engineers moving in, taking up position behind the hedges, opening up with MP40s. Schwimmwagen not knowing what to do, backs away, cursing high command for not equipping him with a sidearm, and then moves behind the lines for the Panzer Grenadiers, setting up a nice position here. Forward position, very nice and dandy. Certainly a very strong one. House there. 2nd Panzer Grenadier team there. Might want to get into the ditch and away from the open road. Again, mind you, negative cover is very, very bad unless you're dealing with flamethrowers, in which case, very good. But again, against bullets, very bad. Also against high explosive shells. And what is this? An interesting maneuver from CompanyofPinheads. Actually one I've certainly not seen very often. It's in fact a sort of BAR rush. Going straight for them. Very interesting, very interesting. Certainly not something I've actually seen before. I've seen all sorts of rushes, but not the BAR Browning automatic rifle rush. Certainly sounds dashing there. Panzer Grenadiers also marching about in the south, forcing these engineer chappies back. Riflemen rather realizing that a full-on assault right here is not going to be much of an advantage for them right away. Pulling out of there, Schwimmwagen forced back by the engineers, and BARs are equipped. We might be seeing a 2nd Rifleman team coming out. Will we? Come on. Riflemen, yes, there we go. Riflemen, riflemen, riflemen. All nice and dandy. And there they are, all lined up, ready to make some sort of dashing assault, waiting with their semi-automatic rifles and Browning automatic rifles, lots of automatic rifles. And pushing through here. Mines being laid down by CompanyofPinheads. Not a bad move, but just one detail. You don't actually want to do it right in front of your opponents. That's what you call a bad maneuver. That's basically telling them, no, right, I have mines here. And of course, in particular, not when shooting again. For those that don't know, building, laying down mines, or repairing right in front of you, the opponent, while he's firing at you, actually makes your troops more easy to hit and take more damage. So that's what you call a bad move, and engineers are in fact getting very badly punished for that one. In fact, dropping the mine, but apparently, thankfully, not setting it off when he drops down on it. So apparently not an armed mine, which he is probably most fortunate for. And Pattonslayer going straight for the logistic company, opting for a bit of logistic or logistics. And scout car with the logistic upgrade. Nice radio aerials, securing the fuel here for the fatherland. So both sides have the fuel secured. And Panzer is standing out in the open, trying to seize a point, but coming under heavy fire, forced retreat, leaving behind only this team. Oh dear, if these riflemen do set in for them, it could end up very badly. Schwimmwagen on the move, swimming away, going straight for this strategic cutoff point. Good move from Pattonslayer. He might be able to slay Patton eventually. No reaction from the rifleman though. Might be awaiting, yes, reinforcements from the base. Jolly good, jolly good. And this Schwimmwagen might in fact be lost. Engine is on fire. The driver cursing, screaming, urging his Schwimmwagen to go a bit faster, but will, oh dear, might not be enough. And out of control and into the river, or not quite, though the driver does manage to fly into it. And riflemen, not entirely sure what they're doing here, though moving about in the open, not a good move. For example, might have been better to, for example, set up right here, and perhaps here, thus forcing the Panzer grenades to sort of spread out and getting the most amount of firepower onto that building. Instead, he's just sort of standing around there. Not good moves, not good moves. You generally want to attack an opponent if you can from all the sides. And negative cover, again, bad move. You actually want to use cover. Cover is your friend, always, always. Now just gunning away at these Panzer Grenadiers, and apparently we have Scorched Earth being prepared. Booby trapping the house, not entirely sure that's a good maneuver in front of the enemy. Panzer Grenadiers getting torn through. Firepower is overwhelming, and oh my dear, they're leaving it straight into the arms of the waiting riflemen, gunning them down, massacring them. That was an unfortunate loss for Pattonslayer, 1st Infantry Team down, and it was CompanyofPinheads who secured the kill. Mortar half-track out though, and the Schwimmwagen has of course also been lost. Things are certainly looking a bit pressured for Mr. Pattonslayer. Riflemen, not entirely sure why they are moving into cover, for example using this building though. Come on, cover. Cover. No, we are seeing grenades being researched. I missed that note. Quite interesting, going for rather heavy riflemen start. In fact, a 5th rifleman team. That seems a bit excessive, in particular with all that fuel secured. A better move, money. In fact, after getting the grenades, perhaps going for the motor pool. For example, now getting supply yard, which might help with all the manpower. In fact, again, riflemen do have a high manpower upkeep. They are rather greedy buggers, being from the United States and all that. And riflemen securing this eastern area. Schwimmwagen moving in. Mortar half-track moving in. Granatenwerfer ready. Not entirely sure what size. Might be an 8 centimeter one or a 6 centimeter. Though I don't know the details. And an infantry half-track joins in as well. Mind you, it wasn't always only the reconnaissance half-tracks that did have that. For example, the regular half-track also had a mortar upgrade. There was also an AA gun upgrade. There was also an anti-tank gun of the larger variant, not just the small one. And there was also a sort of stubby gun, bit like the Panzer IV infantry support tank. Lots of different variants for these half-tracks, which actually again gave those Panzer Grenadier divisions quite a lot of firepower on the mobility, which of course suited them rather nicely. Sticky bombs also now getting upgraded, really opting rather heavily for those riflemen, but he's not using them, and he's not getting any medic stations for them either. If you have 5 rifleman teams, getting a medic stations would really be a brilliant idea, and also using them instead of just standing around would also be a clever idea, but apparently he's just using them to stand around. Trias center also up, still no supply yard, which is, again, he's down to 200 manpower now from 270. Again, getting supply out would really be a brilliant maneuver here, and really getting his ass into movement would be absolutely lovely to see instead of just standing around. It can backfire on him if he stands around too long, twiddling his thumbs, enjoying beer or coffee or whatever these American troops enjoy. Coming under fire from the infantry half-track, mortar opening up, and we are seeing a scout car as well with its own machine gun opening up. Rifleman here getting torn apart out in the open by all of these machine guns. Sticky bomb going off on the half-track though. Rifleman getting out. I doubt this sticky bomb will do much for long. Panzer Grenadiers getting out and repairing it. And they're still standing around. Unbelievable. Get a move on, company of pinheads, you pinhead. And we're now seeing a weapon support center, but still no movement from the American commander. My goodness. That is 24 riflemen, but he's doing absolutely nothing with them. An overwhelming amount of firepower and lethality combined here, but he's not using it. That's really, 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 really bad. I mean, that's terrible. Absolutely horrific, in fact. I'm not entirely sure how long I can keep up with this. Laying down plenty of mines, though, not a bad idea. In fact, that's actually a pretty good thing. Ensuring certainly that the Panzer Elite player will have a lot of trouble moving about, but still, having that much infantry stand about doing absolutely nothing, though, is pretty darn bad. And let's go have a look at Pattonslayer. Pattonslayer going for an armored car and Marder upgrade. And what are we seeing here? Another scout car, which in fact gives him, what, 3 scout cars? Actually interesting. Rare you see this many, though plenty of munitions. Interesting. The other one securing these areas might secure this munitions point. Would actually be a pretty good idea since it's a high yield munitions point. Riflemen continuing the move, still not doing much, and again doing absolutely bollocks over here. Engineers continuing to lay down a few mines here on the road. These chaps are doing absolutely nothing, though. Infantry attack moving about. Assault rifles in it. This might be a rather vicious drive-by. Getting caught right up into the riflemen. Riflemen not dropping a sticky bomb. Get them moving, Pinhead. And these tank busters are coming under a lot of fire. Getting suppressed by the BARs. Good move. Infantry attack, though, moving in from behind. Further riflemen moving in. Panzer Grenadiers dropping in from all sides. They're coming under a lot of fire from all sides as well. Rifleman team retreating. This one, why is it not engaging these troops? That's absolutely poor priority of targets. You should not try to harass when you have a nice target right here. You could hit with riflemen from several sides, and of course he will learn that this is in fact secured. Armored car now moving in as well. This is an absolutely wasted moment in epic proportions. Just not using those riflemen for anything good. My goodness. Now riflemen moving in from the north, all on their own, getting faced with a lot of firepower, not standing up, and now just getting suppressed. And I'm getting depressed. And now getting pinned down. Pinhead. You really need to learn to better control your movements and organize things and be more active. You don't just stand around doing absolutely nothing. And we're seeing, what is this? Heavy machine gun being set up here to protect this area. This is a peculiar move. Not entirely sure how that's going to help him. Again, he really needs to be more aggressive. He really needs to use that infantry instead of just sending them piecemeal. Again, sending in infantry piecemeal at your opponent, in particular when they're in greater numbers, is an absolutely dumb idea. On the other hand, Mr. Pattonslayer is doing pretty well. Lots of units, lots of scout cars, not so much infantry. Armored cars, infantry half-tracks, mortar half-tracks, and now a Marder 3 as well. Lots of firepower of all kinds, lots of riflemen for Pinhead, and not much use for it. In fact, again, he's just standing around doing absolutely bollocks, not getting even a supply yard, which of course could help with upkeep a bit. I mean, my goodness. This is just sad. So very sad. And now infantry half-track moving towards this area. Good move. Heavy machine gun moving about. Infantry still doing very little, just standing about, even though 3 teams are ready to move out. In fact, the rest are doing nothing. Not entirely sure. Has he lost 1 infantry teams? No, not yet though. Although wait, yeah, that will soon happen at this rate of attrition and this rate of just inserting them piecemeal at the enemy and not really using them. He's much too passive. Much too passive with that such large an infantry force. We are seeing fieldcraft being upgraded, meaning of course now the Panzer Grenadiers will be even quicker to seize territory. Good move here, and riflemen standing about. 1 rifleman team though moving north. Might deal with this. Booby trapping this victory point. This they might come to regret. Will we see a grenade being dropped on these Panzer Grenadiers? No. Will we see further riflemen move in? Finally, yes, supporting one team with another. Suppressing fire. Grenades on these Panzer Grenadiers, now pinned down, taking a prestigious amount of firepower. Veterans you want on this team. suppressing this team of Panzer Grenadiers, forcing them to retreat. Half-track also forced to retreat, taking quite a bit of firepower as well. Might get sticky bombed even. Will it happen? No, it gets out of there still. Get those riflemen out and moving. Pinhead, please. He seems to have such good ideas, but he seems to then absolutely be unable to follow up on them. He seems to... he lacks motivation, he lacks panache, he lacks spirit. I mean, you don't get this large an infantry force and then sit about twiddling your thumbs. You generally don't sit about twiddling your thumbs in Company of Heroes, but this is really, really terrible. He's much, much too passive. And every second he just sits about on his ass doing absolutely nothing is a second that Pattonslayer gets something really big and armor to punch his nose in. Supplier, though, is finally up. That will certainly help with the manpower situation a bit. Mortar half-track, though, coming under fire, but why isn't he moving in? He's standing right in front of... oh, finally getting a move on. Taking mortar fire, though. Second rifleman team moving in, but not doing much. And these are just standing about again. Heavy machine gun covering things so he can move these up, free them up, move them out, and do some damage. But no, apparently he is not keen on that. Oh dear, oh dear. Although Pattonslayer's passiveness isn't really commendable either. He's not doing much either. In fact, either side, for being part of an aggressive faction, are way too passive. Just sitting about. Panzer Grenadiers are not attacking, seizing territory with mortar support and infantry half-track support, or even armored car support, not really in greater numbers. We are seeing a Hotchkiss light tank coming out, though, seeing a lot more of them now after the patch, which is actually a good sign. Schwimmwagen moving in for a bit of harassment, good move there, but really needs to push through. A bit more pressure using those Panzer Grenadiers and half-tracks, come on, come on. Achtung, Achtung, get a move on, or it's the Eastern Front for you. Panzer Grenadiers moving in, only one team though with no support, taking quite a bit of fire. Oh dear, sticky bombs might disable it. Yes, there we go. Infantry half-track is in a dire situation. And Panzer Grenadiers right in the middle of everything. Infantry half-track survive though. Armored car moving in, opening up on these riflemen, take cover, sit up. Quite heavy losses for all sides. Schwimmwagen, infantry half-track lost. Armored car coming under quite a bit of fire. We are finally seeing Pinhead actually have to do something and inflict some damage. Armored car looks like it might be getting away. Riflemen still not moving in, and these chaps really need to get out of there before they're torn apart. Riflemen moving in from the north. Armored car, whoa, rifleman team desperately low on men and health. Barely gets out of there. Armored car though, engine damaged. Riflemen moving in for the kill. Will they succeed? Will they be able to tear it down, or will the armored car, by the grace of the fatherland, get out of there? And thus be able to say, Gott mit uns. Apparently so. Panzer Grenadiers with automatic rifles moving in, Sturmgewehr 44, and the Hotchkiss with the Wurfrahmen upgrade opening up as well. And explosions are seen in the horizon, riflemen coming under quite a bit of fire, and the house is on fire, not just the roof, but the entire building. Finally getting some bloody action from either side. Good job, Pattonslayer, from breaking the tide, the deadlock, and getting Pinhead out of his pin. And now he's lost all motivation once more. That's just depressing. He's knocked out a half-track, a Schwimmwagen, and actually done quite a bit of damage, but does he use it? No, he just sits about once more. Territorial-wise, though, it's actually pretty even right now, though. Half the map is in the hands of the Panzer Elite. Half the map is in the hands of the Americans, and half the map is in the hands of the Hiccups. Panzer Grenadiers, though, hoping to change that, moving in. Riflemen, though, moving in larger numbers, might put them under a lot of pressure. In fact, we are seeing a large infantry move, and now a mortar team up from Company of Pinheads. Captain Pinhead, part of the long-esteemed Pinhead family, which fought in World War I, in the American Civil War, and in the Philippines, when they took it from the Spaniards. Panzer Grenadiers moving in with assault rifles, riflemen standing out in the open, not a good move. Grenades are on these Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers miraculously survive. Moving in on these riflemen, taking quite a bit of fire. Riflemen getting torn apart by the assault rifles. This church is not in good condition, though. These riflemen are also getting suppressed. Mortars opening up on both sides. And veterancy 1 for these Panzer Grenadiers. Will we see offensive or defensive? Defensive veterancy just as a mortar hits them, suppressing them and getting out of their mortar, also getting out there, perhaps wanting to avoid counter mortar fire from the mortar half-track, which is a very good thing to remember, actually, pretty good. And we are seeing a Panther battle group being prepared for the Panzer Lehr Ausgangsabteilung. Shall be interesting to see if this will provide the armored push for the Panzer Lehr. At the same time, in a sort of mirror move, we are seeing a tank depot coming up, which of course might mean some American armor on the field. Riflemen forced back in the face of superior firepower from this armored car with its auto cannon and its machine gun. Panzer Grenadiers standing ready nearby. And in fact, let's pause briefly, as I do believe we are halfway through. Not been the most active. In fact, we've seen some pretty horrific things on both sides, mostly passiveness, but really from Pinhead. Just standing around with large infantry forces and not using them, not keeping the pressure up. That's absolutely horrific. And he's again just standing around with them. I'm not entirely sure what's going through his head. But let's go have a look. What can Mr. Rommel's Pattonslayer actually do? Well, Pattonslayer just needs to keep up the pressure. He needs to hit here and here. Basically, again, keep up the pressure. Actually do something with those Panzer Grenades and all that armor. All those armored vehicles, those Hotchkiss light tanks, just use them, put some pressure on the enemy and just keep him on his back foot. That's really what's going to win him the war. And for Company of Pinheads, Captain Pinhead of the 3rd Armored Division might dishonor his glorious family's name. Getting a Hellcat out could do some help, but what he really needs to do is get that damn infantry on the move. Get a medic station. Veterancy supply upgrade 1-1 for the supply yard. Good move there, but really keep up the pressure himself. Get that infantry into some goddamn movement. Get a doctrine, perhaps armored company now who's getting this, or perhaps infantry, perhaps airborne. Just get a doctrine and either get some artillery or strafing runs down on him, or get some really powerful tanks on him. Either way, do bloody something. Don't just sit about. Passivity is just an excuse for your enemy to beat the snot out of you at his leisure. By keeping the initiative up, you can actually choose where to fight, and of course choose to have the advantage there. That's the beautiful thing about actually attacking. You can usually keep the advantage if you know what you're doing. If you're just defending, then your opponent can basically go and look for the weakest spot and of course get the advantage there. Now, let's return this and hope Company of Pinheads can turn things around. Lots of infantry again in need of reinforcements, no medic stations, no real fortification, and no mines right here in the center, which is actually quite interesting, seeing as it mined this spot rather heavily and this one, but nothing really beyond that. You sort of mine the periphery, but not really the main spot where it might actually make a bloody difference. Riflemen not moving about, mortar setting up, riflemen still not moving, and the Nebelwerfer opening up. Looks like perhaps here. Yes, there we go. Destroying a stone wall, not the most successful of artillery bombardments, I fear. Armored car on the move, Panzer Grenadiers as well. Further Panzer Grenadier forces moving in. In fact, looks like he's gotten a 4th Panzer Grenadier team. Good job, good job. Lots of light armor and vehicles of all sorts. In fact, he has 2 scout cars, one securing this strategic point to ensure that it doesn't fall into the hands of the enemy. It's a rather interesting move actually to do so.
We're losing a fuel sector.
Hellcat moving in, opening up on this armored car. Might it get off another shot? No, it goes right through it. And yes, that did actually happen. Soft targets and of course armored cars not being so armored, of course, open up a lot of choices for where the shot can go from one end and into the other, because well, the skin is a bit too soft. So keep that in mind. 50 cal machine gun also on. Not a good idea to have those hanging about though near all those tank buster Panzer Shreks. Riflemen really getting the drop on these Panzer Grenadiers though. Panzer Grenadiers apparently trying to get into this house. Panzer Grenadiers getting slaughtered. My goodness, this is an absolutely terrifying move. And looks like, what is this? Might there be a grenade? In fact, another lost. And the Panzer Shrek is dropped through the window. My goodness, and a grenade. Clearing out 2 Panzer Grenadier teams. Absolutely terrifying. M18 Hellcat, though, is still alive. 2 infantry kills. Panzer Pattonslayer apparently just shrugging up. Pfft. Not really good, responsible commanding from his side, though. There should certainly be a reprimand for that. Nothing else, though. No immediate counterattacks. No armored cars moving in. No Hotchkiss is opening up. No martyrs moving in. If you have, yes, he has a martyr, but he's not really moving in to support. Again, seems to be an absolute lack of activity from either side. Company of Pinheads not really using it to sort of get the advantage and push through, and Pattonslayer not really counterattacking, perhaps hoping to minimize the damage. We're now seeing a Sherman coming out. That's really going to get the drop on the Panzer Lehr forces. Mortar and Hotchkiss, though, ready to defend, while this large American force moves through this town. Hotchkiss opening up with his 37mm very low velocity gun. Mortar half-track, though, getting sticky bombed. Good move there. Panzer Shrek opening up. My goodness. Incendiary rounds killing quite a few riflemen. And this mortar half-track is actually quite damaged. Armor cars moving in. M18 Hellcat not ready. Panzer grenades charging straight into the heavy machine gun and these riflemen with BARs. Quite a bit of fighting on all sides. Hotchkiss has damaged engine, no armor moving in. That Sherman could really have been a great help there, or that M18 for that sake. But neither moving in, and these Panzer grenades are getting absolutely torn apart by that heavy machine gun, forcing them back, despite them perhaps that half-track having offered a bit of cover, but not enough. Not enough. And what is this I hear? The M18 Hellcat moved in to scare them away a bit and crush the cover. Good move. Riflemen will of course be in dire need of reinforcements. Still no doctrine, and Panther section is on the way. Panzerkampfwagen 5. Very nice looking maneuver right there. Very dashing tanks, jet black. And Sherman and Hellcat moving towards here, perhaps hoping to do a bit of damage right there, but they have to be careful about that martyr, and I do believe he has heard it and seen it. So he wants to be careful about actually dealing with it. It could actually end up very badly for him. And now the Panthers are moving in from the north. What are they doing? Will they actually be delivering a blow? Hotchkiss coming under heavy fire. Sherman also taking quite a bit of, but this Hotchkiss might be lost. No, it actually seems to be surviving. Instead, the Americans are focusing on the scout car instead of knocking out that Hotchkiss, or perhaps going for that martyr. My goodness, that seems to be a terrible choice of priorities, and not even finishing off these scout cars. Oh dear. Panthers moving in towards the north, not going for this light armor movement from the American in the south. That seems to be a pretty poor move, but clearing up this heavy machine gun without much fear. American armor not finishing off anything here either. And sector artillery being called in by the Panzer Lehr to cover this sector from the tanks.
One of our units was annihilated.
And the heavy machine gun is cleared out. Up gun for the Sherman, but no extra armor. He might want to get some. In fact, he might try to get a Pershing out, or a Calliope if he wants to go armor. I mean, generally though, he needs to do something. He really needs to choose a doctrine and set a course. And he really needs to get a lot more aggressive. Panthers coming under fire, but they seem to have very little trouble with these infantrymen just opening up, in fact forcing them back. And this seems to be a bit of a wasteful move. They didn't really do any damage of any larger quantity. They didn't knock out any single armored cars, not even a Hotchkiss or that martyr. Instead they did absolutely nothing, which is just sad. Might want to get another Sherman, perhaps another Hellcat, and might also get another supply and upgrade. He might actually do something in the first place. Tanks, armored cars moving out. Looks like Pattonslayer is on the warpath. Really wants to do some damage and kill some cowboys. Or what? There seems to have been a general lack of activity on both sides, which I find most distressing. Sherman getting repaired. Lots of manpower and fuel floated, but none of it used. Lots of command points being floated, but not being used either. Riflemen moving about here might be caught out in the open by these armored cars. There we go. American armor and tank destroyer not reacting at all. Veterans won for this armored car, no sticky bombs, and again no activity of any sort. Again, this sort of inactivity from Mr. Pinhead is just distressing. And there we go, finally reacting with his Sherman and his Hellcat moving in. And the armored cars are just leaving. How convenient. Very slow reaction from Pinhead there. Terribly slow. And no movement from the Panthers either. Again, this also rather astonishes me. Both sides are absolutely... I'm not entirely sure how to put it. They're absolutely petrified. They seem to do absolutely nothing. Just sit about, despite the fact that Pattonslayer currently has 2 Panthers. Beautiful Panthers. He has Martyrs, he has Hotchkiss with artillery upgrades, he has Panzer Grenadiers, he has a lot of things. But he's not making a single bloody move.
This rate will be taking Berlin by Christmas.
And another M4 Sherman arrives to the field, and now a motor pool coming up. Might have been better, for example, getting another Hellcat for that. But no. In fact, let's just... Oh, looks like we're finally seeing some movement again from Pattonslayer. Pattonslayer moving about with his Panthers as well, yes. Hotchkiss is nearby as well, ready to provide some light artillery support. Booby traps going off, I hear, I think. Still nothing going on. Come on. And Rifleman being caught right out in it. We'll have to get out of there. Come on, Rifleman, you don't want to stand out. Oh dear. Pinhead seems to lack some sort of sight of overview. He doesn't really seem to have the sort of general appreciation of the larger battlefield. And Pattonslayer is doing absolutely nothing. Again, he's not pushing through. He's the Panzer Elite, not the Panzer Elite. And finally, we might be seeing some movement. Sherman's opening up on these Panzer Grenadiers. Hellcats as well. We might be finally seeing an engagement here. Panthers moving in, taking quite a bit of fire. And will he be flanking through here? Come on, flank through. Get behind those Panthers. That's the spot. Panzer Grenadiers getting torn apart out in the open. Sherman taking quite a few rear hits. Oh dear. Come on, move in that armor from the rear. Yes, there we go. Rear armor hit on the Panther. You want really to hit those Panthers there. You do not want to engage them from the front. In fact, Panther training rather specified that in combat you really want your opponent to be facing the front, as that was 80mm sloped armor. Well, of course, the side was actually pretty weak, so of course, if you're facing a Panther, do not engage it from the front, engage it from the rear. That's really where you're going to be doing the most damage. And Hotchkiss fires once more, setting this building on fire. Spooky. American armor doing nothing. Anti-tank guns moving about. Sherman here not getting repaired by any engineers. Again, there seems to be a lack of sort of coordination between his forces. These Panthers, on the other hand, are getting repaired, but that seems to be about it. Mortar opening up. Again, a lack of activity on either side. It's again very, very depressing. Armored cars moving in from the north. And straight into the side of the Hellcat and the anti-tank gun. One armored car is out, incendiary rounds going out, doing quite a bit of damage. Second armored car, sticky bombed as well, my goodness, and knocked out. 2 armored cars down for Rommel. And his anti-tank half-track moving in, immobilizing the Hellcat, but it's lost. That seems to be quite a bit of a gamble. Of course, it might give him some mobility for his Panthers if he moves them. Move them, Pattonslayer. Or straight to a Volksgrenadier division with you. Moving them in, crashing them in right through the enemy lines. And he's engaging them from the front. Oh dear. Again, you want to engage them from the rear. Well, I know the Hellcat can't do that, but this Sherman could actually, and this Sherman could also. Instead, he's in... Oh dear. Anti-tank gun might get recruited and open up with his armor-piercing round, which actually will be able to do quite a bit of damage if he opens up quickly. I don't even think he's using armor-piercing rounds. And still no arm doctrine at all, my goodness. Pattonslayer with plenty to go about. Panther here might be knocked out. Will it happen? No, in fact he's moving it back and he's not even using his... Oh dear. Sniper now on the field. Anti-tank are knocked out. Sherman not doing anything. And another Sherman knocked out. This was absolutely terrifying to watch. Absolutely sad to watch. And the Panthers are now just getting out of there. In fact, let's just speed things up a bit. I doubt anything major is going to happen here. Another anti-tank and on the move. And absolutely nothing happening once more. Whee! Yes.
Panzer Lehr can now use incendiary grenades. We must work together to defeat our enemies. Group Zeal will aid us all. The enemy has a mere
and a small engagement here. Snipers taking out a few Panzer Grenadiers, and I do apologize for the silence, but there's very little to comment on at the moment. The Panzer Lehr not really being much of a Panzer division, being awfully passive, and same with the Americans. I mean, there's just not much happening. They're just sitting about for most of the time, and for the American, that was really the thing that cost them the battle, I feel. That, of course, and the terrible coordination between forces, where they basically just stood around with huge amounts of riflemen doing absolutely bollocks. Once more speeding up. Sniper getting cut down by the scout car. Anti-tank guns moving out, and getting some airborne now. This is absolutely too little too late. Had it been support though, with those recoilless rifles, he might actually have been able to do something, but now it's just simply too late. It's like a drop of water on a hot stove. It's not going to do anything now, Pinhead. You wasted your chance, you blew it. Now you shall pay the price as the Panzer Lehr crushes you eventually. Schwimwagen knocked out. Rifleman getting bombarded by Hotchkiss. Panzer Grenadiers charging in, setting apart a rifleman team. And now he's just basically spraying them out. Strafing run moving in, but not doing much here. Again, this is just sad. This is just a few gasps from Pinhead's 3rd Armored Division as he desperately tries to claw his way back, but absolutely is unable to do so, having lost most of his forces in most depressing ways. Panzer Grenadiers continuing the move, and I think this match is very soon over.
We are losing a sector.
And sector artillery, and there we go. Company of Pinheads has left the fight. That was certainly not the most exciting of fights, and I do apologize, but again, it was rather hard, and I figured this might actually have some merit opposed to some other games. So again, send in replays if you have them, in particular some interesting ones where something a bit unusual happened, but please don't send ones in where you just sat around for half the fight doing nothing. It's not the most exciting thing to show. I mean, it's simple as that. I need to be a bit of a showman as well, and of course I need something that can actually be shown. Anyways, what can we learn from this? Well, of course, don't sit about on your ass for half the fight. That was really what bit Pinhead in the ass. He stood about with large forces, but he used it horrifically. He didn't use them half the time. And coordination between his forces was also terrifyingly bad. Also, don't engage Panthers from the front. They were built to withstand anything from the front, more or less. 80mm of sloped armor is pretty much, compared to regular non-sloped armor, is about 160mm. So again, don't engage them from the front. If you're doing so, you're begging for a beating. Other things also to keep in mind are, for example, mines. We saw some interesting mine usage, but not really where it mattered. No medic stations, despite having a lot of infantry, and he really didn't use his fuel advantage very well. I mean, there was some very, very high lack of motivation on the side of Pinhead, and some lack of aggression, which really could have seen him through very quickly in this fight. And I'm pretty sure this match would have been over a lot sooner had either side been a lot more aggressive, or at least slightly more aggressive. So there you go. I do hope you enjoyed this fight. If you didn't, well, why not? If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own, which might just prove to be more interesting. This is Imperial Dane saying, do take the initiative and do try to attack. Cheers.